When it comes to popular toy lines, there will always be someone out there trying to rip it off. Now, I'm not talking about imitation, things like stone protectors, sort of trying to hone in on the Ninja Turtle action. No, I'm talking about like full-blown rip-off toys being produced that look just enough like something else to try to fool you. Today on Rewind Toys, I'm going to show you a few of my, we'll say, favorite bootlegs and knockoffs. So just sit back and get ready for an interesting journey. All right, in the cold open, I mentioned Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, so let's go ahead and start there. I want to talk about a line that really doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but has grown fairly popular in the toy hunting community as far as knockoffs go. Now, maybe you've heard of these, maybe not, but we're going to tell you about the Turley Gang. Released in the 80s under Europlay Toys and Sun Gold, they were mostly sold in Germany and the Netherlands. These 5 turtle-inspired beasts, well, they had one heck of a backstory. It would seem like they, being Primus, Secundo, Spikes, Sato, and Aquarius, were thrown into a gigantic lava pit during an attack by the dark forces of Tutatus. Now, somehow, the heat, it actually didn't kill them, it just transformed them into warriors who were then blown back out and landed on Earth to fight evil. Sure, makes perfect sense. There were 2 factions, the good Turley fighters and the bad Troubles. They didn't really mince words here when naming the bad guys, did they? They were essentially just heads tossed on top of another knockoff toy from Sun Gold, which I guess I should have started with, but I didn't, so we'll talk about those guys next, and they are the Galaxy Warriors. Here you go, you guys can compare yourselves. In 1992, Eurotoys was sued, and as a result, they changed the molds and the Turley Gang, but the originals had such a small release and such a bizarre story, they've become extremely popular with collectors. People search out the Turley Gang, not as much as they do certain turtles, but still quite a bit. All right, since I mentioned Sun Gold and I mentioned Galaxy Warriors, we'll go ahead and talk about them. Now, these won't be the only Masters of the Universe knockoffs we mentioned today, but they are one of the most famous, I would say, overall. Now, Motu had become such a mega hit with kids in the early 80s that Sun Gold saw an opportunity to, we won't say trick kids, we're going to say give children an alternative. Galaxy Warriors fell into the same 5.5-inch scale as Motu, and they had the same basic body structure, and their card art was clearly inspired by Frank Frazetta. Released in 1983, there were 2 factions, Sword and Sorcerers and Beasts. There were 14 original figures. Those figures are Magnon, Spikes, Triton, Huck, Anubi, Sahak, Thor, Baltard, Yug, and Dragoon. And then there were the Beasts, Tiger Man, Dino Man, Mammoth, and Horse. So 2 more figures were actually released later on a blister card with the title Swords and Sorcerers. They were named Devil and Ra. I think it's Devil. It's Deevi. Devil. We're going with Devil and Ra. They're considered part of the line, even though they were never actually released on the Galaxy Warriors blister card. They're still considered part of the line. They were only released in the UK, though, under Akamas Toys. That was instead of Sun Gold. Now, there were 2 different versions of the action figures released, which mostly were just different because of the packaging and some of the build of their armor, but not the figures so much themselves. If you're a collector, be aware. Sun Gold actually re-released the entire Galaxy Warriors line sometime around 1990, only this time they called them Freedom Fighters, but they're pretty much the same exact toys. So Galaxy Warriors are kind of a big deal these days. Again, like for your knockoff, not just knockoff, collectors who just really want obscure, kind of hard to find toys. they're out there looking for these. So, be aware. The thing about Galaxy Warriors is they became such a kind of, even though they were a knockoff line, they became big enough that this knockoff line had a knockoff line. And that would be the Suco Galaxy Fighters. There isn't a ton to say about these aside from the fact that they look a lot like Galaxy Warriors, and they used a very similar name. There were 12 figures: Anobi, Centurn, Batoon, Daytone, Mace Ape, Magoon, Cobra, Robic, Iguana, and Baltard. I feel like some of those names, I feel like we've seen those. Didn't they both have a Baltard? I think they did. Here's the thing. These were produced in Hong Kong, and that meant that they often shared the same mold, which meant some of the figures would show up in both lines. It's also not completely unheard of to find a Galaxy Fighter packaged with a Galaxy Warrior name. It's crazy, I know, but that's just the way it was. Oh, and the Galaxy Fighters also had the Demon Fighter vehicle and the awesome Pegasaurus. This line was released in 1987, and yes, like the others, it is highly sought after by collectors. All right, since we're here anyway, I want to highlight two additional somewhat popular Motu ripoff lines. The first is Fantasy World, released by Soma in 1983. Now, Soma didn't bother giving their line a backstory at all. They just slapped them on cards and put them in the market. They released 8 figures, 4 good guys, 4 bad guys, and they kept them within the 5.5 inch scale. There was Heracon. What a great name, Heracon. I mean, it sounds pretty tough. Hellord. Seriously, I feel like Soma is bringing it with these names. Iron Mask. Man, maybe not as good, but still. Dragon Man. That, Phantastar. A little bit better. Triken. Whatever. Pyro. Not a whole lot there. And Nizzard. I don't like that one at all. I don't like that one at all. They also gave us like a Battle Cat and Panther knockoff with the black, gray, red, and purple Panthers. And they released a wind-up walking monster, which was just their wind-up King Kong slapped on different packaging. I guess I would take the walking monster as well. But yeah, it's just slapped on a different package and re-released. So I'm not going to lie. If I were to, search out a certain series of the 3 we just talked about, it would probably be Fantasy World. But it also might be 1985's Defenders of the Planets by Sparkle Toys. Masters of the Universe, Defenders of the Planets. When the evil Zardoom and his 2 additional henchmen come to attack Earth from the Orion star system, the Defenders must fight back with their 3 heroes: Orion, Quasar, Canis Major, Weapon Master, Strong Arm, and again, Zardoom. Again, they are all 5.5 inch scale and in the traditional He-Man pose, but this time we have 4 beasts they can ride on. There's Lion Steed and Eagle Steed. Those are for the good guys. And then Dino Beast and Rhino Beast for the bad guys. As a kid, I would have happily integrated most of these into my play. And honestly, a few are just really cool looking. If you're a Motu fan, then you might want to keep an eye out, but know that none of these are super cheap, and all of them are highly desired and sought after. Your best bet would be stumbling across one at a flea market. That would be my guess. Because they're just going to be knockoffs, He-Man toys, and they're, you might be able to find a deal. But to anybody who knows what they are, it's going to cost you a little bit. Now we're going to leave Masters of the Universe, and we're going to discuss a line that we have done a show on in the past. That episode right up there. And this line was in and of itself inspired by Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That line being Street Sharks. And yeah, it actually had a couple of notable knockoffs, both from a company called Mannix. We're going to start with the 1995 Mighty Sharks. Man, I kind of love these. I mean, they're ridiculous, huge sharks and dinosaur heads on small, muscular bodies. But just, man, how awesome do these things look? I suppose they're sort of a knockoff of street sharks and extreme dinosaurs, really, if you think about it. Anyway, so this line is unbranded officially, and that means a complete list is difficult to find at best. But we know there was a gray, a green, a blue, and a purple. Now, I can't give you a whole lot of details because there just aren't a lot of details available, but I had to tell you about them because, I mean, just look at them. I want these. These are the kind of thing that I'm into. But wait, Mannix wasn't done with the street sharks there. No, they wanted to rip off even more. And so I give to you the Ocean Warriors 4. These were manufactured in 2000, and, well, like, these weren't trying to hide their rip-offness at all. Like, just look at them. We have Dave, Bob, Ralph, and Chuck. And if I'm to be honest, man, seriously, Mannix, I think I want these more than I want the actual street sharks because they're just so damn weird, and I love that about them. Mannix, these guys are great. They had bootlegs out there for many different lines. You can look into them. I really dig a lot of their bootlegs, though. Mannix, you might be my new obsession. I'm just saying, you might be my new obsession. Well, hey, guys, you're here. And some of you have come back, and some of you have already subscribed. But for those who haven't, I ask that perhaps you go down and hit subscribe and hit like. It'll only take you a second, and I think you're very cool. Now, I'm not the gauge of judging coolness, but I think you're cool. And, you know, it's a cool thing to do. So if you have a second, please hit subscribe and hit like. All right, we're going to make our way into the home stretch now, and I want to tell you about a line that has had lots of knockoffs over the years, but none so blatant as the Power Hero. Soma, you really went for it with this Power Ranger knockoff, didn't you? Now, sometimes they're referred to as Sonic Heroes or Sonic Rangers, and they're clearly looking to cash in on Power Rangers. Also, sometimes RoboCop. It's a weird kind of gap. I don't know what they were going for there. There were a couple of different versions, some 3-inch, some 7-inch, and you could find them in multi-packs of like 4 all the way up to 10. Some of them had light-up features and sound effects, some didn't. If we compare them to Power Rangers, though, I think you're going to get it. I mean, just look at this. And here's one compared to RoboCop. Released throughout the 90s, the RoboCop versions hit the shelves around 1990, and the Power Ranger knockoffs somewhere in the range of 1994, which both make sense considering the lines they were ripping off. As I've mentioned, the knockoff community is a very big thing, and yes, these are sought after, but loose, they're not too expensive. I have a couple myself, more the RoboCop lean than the Power Ranger lean, and I paid like $3 to $4 for them loose, but they aren't in perfect shape, and they didn't have any weapons or anything like that, so just be aware. But they're fun if you're into knockoffs. I actually picked these up with some other stuff I was buying and intend to resell, but you know, if you're into collecting, some of these are very cool, so look out for them. All right, guys, we have one more, and then I'm going to do a little honorable mention before we close out the show. So the next one we're going to be talking about comes from Akamas Toys. They're an old British toy manufacturer, sort of known for their bootlegs. Now, they did release a short run of figures for the short run 80s television show Automan, which honestly, I would love to own these figures. Now, that show was obscure enough itself that most of you probably don't even know what it is. And the few of you that do, I mean, we're on the wavelength there, but you were around in the 80s clearly because Automan was not. I mean, it was inspired by Tron, not a popular show though. Akamas Toys also did their own pseudo Motu line, but that's not what I want to talk about. It was the Cosmic Cowboy figures that I kind of want to bring up today. So in 1987, a cartoon called Brave Star hit the air. It ran 65 episodes, and it spurred a toy line. Now, one day, we're probably going to talk about Brave Star in detail, but here are a few of the figures. Now, avid 80s collectors know Bravestar, but it's not as popular as the bigger names, and so it's odd to me that there would be a knockoff of those figures. But let's go ahead and take a look at the Cosmic Cowboys. The Cosmic Cowboys had 6 figures in all. Star Marshal Colt Lazier, Buck Meteor, Sergeant Alpha Cody, Chief Iron Lance, Jake Sidewinder, and Iron Jaw. Now let's do a little comparison. Here is Marshal Bravestar. Here is Tex Hex. They look similar, at least to me, but Bravestar was 1987, and here's the weird thing. Cosmic Cowboys, 1983. Now, they've often been tossed in alongside other lines like Motu, and they are sometimes referred to, like I said, as Bravestar knockoffs, but I guess they really aren't. If they came out before Bravestar, it's almost like, was Bravestar inspired by these? I'm kind of curious to know. So yeah, I guess this one's sort of a cheat, but hey, it's a new line that some of you have just discovered, and you can get into them and start collecting them. So you're welcome, I guess. Okay. Before we go, I want to tell you about one of the weirdest knockoffs I've ever seen. And I don't even know if you can call this a knockoff, only you have to call it a knockoff because it's definitely stealing stuff from other lines. Highly sought after by some, and just plain confusing to others. I give to you the battery operated action car. I guess the easiest thing to say would be it ripped off the A-Team, because clearly that's Mr. T, right? And the van might have been inspired by the A-Team van, but there's police lights and is like a battle axe. Look, I can't really tell you a lot about this, but it's crazy, and collectors really want it. This guy in box can sell for over $200. I've even seen it go for $350. So yeah, would you want one? Do you have one? Let me know. Drop it in the comments down below. Let me know if you have a favorite knockoff toy line, if there's something you collect or seek, or maybe you saw something here today that you're like, I'm going to start looking for that. Mannix. Guys, I want the Mannix figures. I don't know what it is about. They call to me. Hey guys, I love having you here. Love talking toys. Hope you come back next time. We're gearing towards something kind of crazy here in the next few weeks, so be looking out for that. And yeah, guys, remember, until next time, when it comes to all these knockoff, crazy, inspired toys, remember, the hunt is still half the fun.